it does look like there is a disagreement with Netanyahu and U.S. on the future of Gaza.
He has clarified some of his remarks, but you're right, he has made comments that are different from the vision that Secretary Blinken laid out.
Ultimately, the only way to ensure that this crisis never happens again is to begin setting the conditions for durable peace and security, and to frame our diplomatic efforts now with that in mind. The United States believes key elements should include no forcible displacement of Palestinians from Gaza. Not now, not after the war. No use of Gaza as a platform for terrorism or other violent attacks. No reoccupation of Gaza after the conflict ends. No attempt to blockade or besiege Gaza. No reduction in the territory of Gaza.
I just want to ask about some of Prime Minister Netanyahu's comments from last week. I'm aware that they've evolved, and Secretary has also laid out a vision on what Washington thinks about the future of Gaza. But where we are, it does look like there is a disagreement with Netanyahu and U.S. on the future of Gaza. U.S. doesn't want any reoccupation, and while Netanyahu has clarified some of his comments and has made different comments, it does sound like Israel does want like a security force and with an indefinite period of time. So I'm just wondering what the U.S. thinking on that is. How are you negotiating with the Israelis on that, and how's that going?
So I will say that, yes, as a first item, he has clarified some of his remarks. But you're right, he has made comments that are different from the vision that Secretary Blinken laid out, both when we were in the region and then in a speech that he gave in Tokyo last week. Let me just reiterate, I know you know them, but just for the record, the principles that the Secretary laid out, which is that, number one, at the end of this conflict, there can be no forcible displacement of Palestinians from Gaza. It can't happen now while the conflict's happening. It can't happen at the end of the conflict. Number two, there can be no continued use of Gaza as a platform for terrorism or other violent attacks, as we saw it used on October 7th. Number three, no reoccupation of Gaza after the conflict. And number four, no reduction in the territory of Gaza. Those are the principles that we believe in. And when we start to have conversations with people in the region about what the future of Gaza looks like, those are the principles we're going to lay out that we want to see adhered to. And I would add to that, central in the question of what happens in Gaza must be Palestinian voices. who have a right to have a voice in their own future. So we will keep making that clear. We'll make that clear directly in conversations with Prime Minister Netanyahu and other leaders of the government of Israel, as we have publicly.